And Scott, you'll talk about La Planète Sauvage. For some reason in English translated to Fantastic Planet instead of Wild Planet, but that one.
Yes. Now, insofar as I'm ever 100% sure about any of my memories, I am sure I'd not even heard of this film before in advance of this podcast, so more fool me. René Laloux's 1973 La Planète Sausage, I think it is. I think that's how you pronounce that one. Sausage. A French-Czech co-production presents a startlingly animated look at the most peculiar planet indeed. For a frame of reference, perhaps the most widely popular similar animation look and feel I can think of would be Terry Gilliam's work from Monty Python.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I thought of.
Yes, although the tone here is, of course, rather less humorous, but if anything, more surreal. We are introduced to Tiwa, who is a young drag girl from a race of hulking, titanous blue humanoid aliens with highly advanced technology and weird psychic meditation powers. Not quite Dr. Manhattan, but getting there for all you Watchmen fans out there. While out playing one day, she comes across an orphaned infant wild om that she cajoles her parents into letting her keep, with the promise that she will house train it and feed it and walk it and so on. Oms, by the way, are humans, not the deity from THX 1138. For such as Yam, I think it would be, the world of Fantastic Planet, where some oms are raised as pets, with a remote control collar to prevent them scampering off as Tiwa fits to the infant that she names Ter, while some live wild as tribals in the often bizarre and dangerous environments of Yam, occasionally culled as pests and frequently tormented for fun by younger drags. Drags age much more slowly than oms, so before long Ter has grown to a rebellious adolescent who has been teaching himself with the telepathic tutoring device that was intended for Tiwa. He soon makes a break for freedom, tutoring Doohickey in tow, and makes contact with the tribe, who initially keep him at arm's length, viewing him as an outsider and a possible spy, before eventually his knowledge leads to them avoiding a purge, and in what's admittedly a bit of a leap, invading a disused drag space facility, where they repurpose that tech to escape to the planet's moon, which is the actual titular Fantastic Planet, I suppose it would be in terms of this translation, where further revelations await that could see a peace brokered between the races. Now, Fantastic Planet is, on the narrative surface at least, a very strange fruit, all backed by a psychedelic jazz soundtrack with an animation style that's decidedly non-traditional, certainly as viewed from today. It's a visually imaginative and impressive world, which, if anything, only suffers from not being explored enough. Boiled down and bullet-pointed, you could, I suppose, argue that the overall narrative and even the exploration of the characters in the world is overly rushed, and there's not really a lot of counter to that argument in a 70-minute film. It certainly feels like it could easily sustain a mini-series at least, but the flip side of all this is that there's certainly never a dull moment, and the oddball visuals and concepts are thrown at you in such quick succession that it's dizzying in a good way indeed. It is, I think, more concerned with making an overall allegory, which I've seen claimed to be about animal rights, which I suppose works, but it's rather more literal than the points on colonialism and slavery that came to mind when I was watching it. It works on all of those levels, although admittedly not while saying anything more obvious than these are bad. But, well, this was, as far as I understand, still aimed at a young teen audience. I suppose as best a summary as I can give is that it's narratively a bit immature, but visually and in terms of its imagination and overall concept, it's fairly sophisticated, and it's certainly worth a mere 70 minutes of your lifespan.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not convinced that I enjoyed this, with the caveat that I have barely slept in a week. Unfortunately, with not even a hint of exaggeration there, so my attention span has not been fantastic preparing for this. It's certainly interesting and striking. Very much who I thought of when I was looking at this was Terry Gilliam, with maybe a hint of something like a Moore and Book Stanzinger.
Yes.
And there's sort of strange, quirky things there, like the sort of long-nosed bird thing that's in a cage that's using its nose to catch these other flying animals, but then just killing them.
Yes.
They seem to be delighting in it, not for food or anything. And there's lots of like odd things going on in the background like that. I, like you, Scott, absolutely saw it as an allegory for colonialism and slavery and that sort of thing, and absolutely not like animal rights at all.
Yes. So you see, that's a bit on the nose, if that was the intention.
Yeah, that's the most surface level reading, possibly, to the point where I didn't even notice that one. It's like, no. That's not in there. No. It's a striking film. I'm not quite sure what to make of it though. certainly the fact it's only 72 minutes is probably not to its credit. It might need a bit of more exploration of
Absolutely, yes.
the world and the philosophies and stuff. And I suspect the reason it's 72 minutes is it's clearly, the animation style is clearly a massively intensive one, so therefore expensive and time consuming. Because it's a kind of pencil drawn look, but it's like clearly stuff that would take a long time to render for one frame.
Yeah.
Let alone many. Yeah, and it's like really detailed backgrounds and things. So I suspect it's sort of monetary or either some sort of budget. You can say whether that budget is time or money. Is why it's as short as it is, I would guess. Because it feels like it's got more to say about. I guess it all sort of ties into the slavery and colonialism thing about not wanting to accept knowledge from people that were like the masters, that sort of thing. But like whether you should do that and what use you can actually make of it and stuff, and then trying to get along together. It feels like it didn't really have the space to explore it as much as I would like it to have done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just spent too long with weird, massive dancing statues with goldfish bowls on their head. It's quite an odd film, is what I'm saying, as well as being quite interesting. It's probably worth looking at just because it's a really quite easy watch because it is only 72 minutes. I suspect most people like me and like you, Scott, had never heard of this. I certainly hadn't before I was doing research for this, but I wanted something a bit different. I thought, an animated 1970s sci-fi thing, that'll be interesting.
It's certainly different. I can't think of anything I've seen that's like this. You say, I wish it had explored a bit more, but at 70 minutes you can't really complain. It's certainly doing enough interesting things to be worth that amount of your time. So yeah.
I would seek out. It's had Blu-ray releases and stuff, so it's. I was going to say it's been popular enough to warrant that, but then again, there's been some weird stuff released on Blu-ray, so that's not actually any guide. What I suspect is that most people listening will not have seen anything that looks quite like it.
Yes.
So even for animation fans, it might be worth looking at. There's not that much I can immediately call to mind that's quite like this visually.
No,